What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Skolcial Network. Brev, we are 2 weeks away.
We are, and I'm in a slightly better mood than last week. Last week, I think we were very depressed because that was fresh JJ news, but now we've had time to digest it. Sorry to bring it up. Maybe we suck again. Sorry.
That was a really
By the
optimistic
way,
yet also negative start to
by the
some of
way,
these
JJ
standings.
McCarthy tore his meniscus, and we won't be able to watch him play till September of 2025.
I saw, I think it was K-Fan or something. They were posting the shirts they're selling at the fair. They had a Jefferson McCarthy, a McCarthy Jefferson 2024 shirt, and they're reselling it, but the 2024 is crossed out. Somebody is calling me. Who is calling me? The
Me.
2024 is crossed out and it says 2025. So glad that they were able to adjust
Nice.
that
That's
relevant
tough.
in
Have you
relevant
ever been to the
timing.
State Fair?
No, I've never been to Minnesota. When I've gone to Minnesota, I've exclusively been there for Vikings games. We're going out
Mm,
in 2 weeks and are doing the a full week just kind of exploring. I say exploring the state. We're hanging out mainly around the Twin Cities, going to catch a Twins game because you can sit. It was the Delta Club. I know there's a Delta Club now, but it's a different Delta Club. The one behind home plate that's like 2 or 3 levels up.
Oh yeah, I know
Shout
what that
out
is.
to SeatGeek for like $40. We get the little comfy seats, which will be great with a 1 year old.
Oh yeah.
Um, US Bank Stadium, love you to death. Well, not having those types of seats there will be interesting with a 1 year old for the home opener. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Do
But
you have to buy
I
a
think the
ticket for
fair,
him?
no.
Oh,
If,
nice.
if
Okay.
different stadiums are weird, it's either under, and same with airlines, it's either under 2 years of age or under like 30 inches tall.
Mm. You gotta abuse that while you can.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we ever buy season tickets for the Vikings, um, we're gonna have to consider how many we're gonna buy.
Oh yeah. Abuse the lax policies on children, not the child. By the way, just want to
I'm glad
make that
you.
clear.
I am glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna talk a little bit about the week in review. Obviously, at this current state, we are a weekly show because Brev works unpredictable times. We
Yeah.
I think you have your schedule down.
Today was the second Friday I've worked because I like usually like I work my 9 to 5 4 days and then I'll write and do stuff and then I'll make up the fifth day. But now it's I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Today's the second Friday I've had to work in like months. And I know that sounds really unemployed because Friday's a weekday, but I promise it's not
No,
unemployment.
Brev is employed. I can confirm. And then obviously I'm employed and have a 1 year old. So I know, our usual viewers just want to see us more every day. Um, Brev, you're on Vikes Now multiple times a week. I'll make the
I
occasional
am.
Vikes Now appearance usually when there's like something crazy happens. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the only few times I've been on the regular
You can
show. But
come on.
anyways,
You can come on more often.
I would like to, but also I am in
That's
a different time zone
true.
than all of you, and the 1 year old situation does make it slightly difficult, especially because now he's at the stage where he's just running around head-butting walls.
I remember my
Um,
1 year old.
yes. That reminded me of a story you shared with me that I will not share on air.
Hmm.
But I do want to start with last week's game. Very boring if you're not a giant Tristan Jackson and Tristan Jackson. Why did I say it that way? Tristan Jackson enthusiast. Jaron Hall had a couple good passes. Nick Mullins was Nick Mullins, but not as exciting. Any major takeaways from that game other than the one everybody won't shut up about that I'm pretty sure we'll keep talking about on and off throughout the next half hour or so?
Well, I thought it was pretty fun just from the standpoint of it was nice to see the Vikings blow somebody out. Preseason or not, it's still real to me, damn it. Uh, I I guess takeaways. There's not a certain player that I would take away that I would say had the performance of their life and perhaps raise their trade value. It doesn't come to mind. Um, but I thought Jaron Hall, even though I think he threw like 4 passes, looked leaps and bounds better. And it's not just because he had a long touchdown pass to Jashon Jones. Jashwan, Jashwan.
Jay
And
Jones, J.
yeah,
Jonah Jameson.
yeah, to Jones. And I don't know. He just looked more ready. He looked more able. He wasn't throwing three passes that were batted in a row. I think it was really like two, but three makes it sound
But
more dramatic.
what's crazy about that though is like for most of last preseason and then the drive against the Falcons, that's what he showed. And then he heard I was flying my family out for New Year's Eve and decided to poop himself
Mm,
against the Packers. And then that
mm,
kind of looked like the same Jaron Hall we saw last week
yeah,
or 2 weeks ago at this point. It's been that long since we've seen our
it's,
sweet prince play football.
and we won't see him again until September 2024.
That's not true. We'll see him in August.
True, fair, but
Probably clips in March as well. But
potentially,
he'll be fine in March.
yeah,
Um, we'll talk about that player in a bit. Uh, signed Gilmore. Very unfortunate I can't post the ankle breaking video anymore, but I wish
yeah.
him all the success in the world.
No, we still can
Like
if he sucks.
that is true.
Yeah,
Um,
spin zone.
what, what, like I don't know. I think people were overreacting to it, being like, "Why would you do this in a tank here?" Or "This shows Quasey serious about competing." I don't think it's that much of a needle mover either way, personally.
It's not, and I think that's more of an argument for the people that are like, "What's the point?" Well, the point is Stephon Gilmore isn't going to win you an extra game this year. I mean, he might. I don't think his value is worth another
One or two
expected win.
interceptions
Yeah,
could change a
could,
game.
depending on the situation. But it's much more of a, hey, we have a lot of young corners that aren't the best. I don't think there's many people better to get younger players acclimated to a scheme than to Brian Flores' scheme than Stephon Gilmore would be. So I look at it as yeah, this probably doesn't mean much in terms of team success, but in terms of mentorship, and I hate to use that like really cliche, like
That was the word in my head too, and I
yeah,
thought the same thing.
exactly the cliche part. But yeah, I mean, it's a team success. It's a whatever. Like if you're looking at competing this year, it's like, well, that's not going to do it. So what's the point? But in terms of mentorship, and you needed somebody at the end of the day, and why not just get the best corner available? Like you still have to go out and play football, even though you know you're gonna not be contending. Maybe. I
If
mean, maybe they will. I don't know.
if he could be if Terrence Newman was Yoda, if we
Hmm.
could just have an Obi-Wan, little younger, little more spry in comparison
Yeah.
to to what Terrence Newman was, who
Terrence
can just
Newman
impart
had an unreal Ultimate Team card in Madden 18. It was so good.
in a Cowboys jersey. I mean, it's whatever
Yeah.
jersey you put him in, but on the card was he in a
He
Cowboys
was
jersey?
Vikings jersey.
Oh,
This is Madden
wow.
18, so 2017. Terrence Newman.
Oh yeah, math. I
Yeah.
forgot he was still on that 17 team. But wasn't he
Hmm.
a coach then? Or was he actively playing?
No, he was on the team.
So he was actually doing well
Like he
ish.
was like actually decent. He'd be a top two corner maybe right now. I
So
don't
if
know.
I don't know about right now, he's like
Yeah, not
45,
in
but
this. You know,
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Ugh. But I mean, I think he's 3 years younger. I was on the Viking Age podcast with Adam Patrick the other day, and I think he, as I was working through the same thought process, kind of looked at what their ages were at the time of signing. I think it's a 3 year difference. So I mean, I yeah, I think it'll be good. I think if you're looking at this year for McCarthy as a development watch film, build the logical year or build the logic in understanding the game year, then I think the same could be said about Mackay. Um, Injured, unfortunate. How are you going to grow while you rehab? I think that this could be a way to do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think people are panicking that there's some dead cap money next year. Like, who cares? It doesn't. They had to field a somewhat competent defensive backfield.
Hmm.
Like, we know the Wilfs, they probably know this year will be a step back, but I know that they're not in a tank mode. There is a difference between those two things. Hey, we're going to try our best and hope for the results, and the cards will fall where they may, or we're actively going to put out like flag football players at the cornerback position.
Can you imagine this team? And I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times, but like this cornerback room in 2021, Gilmore, Shaquille Griffin, and Byron Murphy, the top three.
No, I think that would be insane. But I
That'd be
think
so
it,
good.
God, that reminds me of what was it like 2000? I might be completely off here, but I'm pretty sure it was like 2013 Eagles under Chip Kelly,
Oh, the Dream
where they
Team, man.
had yeah, that was all guys in their 30s that couldn't do any. Michael Vick had like 3 or 4 good games.
Nambi
Um,
Asamoah.
yeah, that was, and now they actually just have a stacked roster, mostly the normal way of just drafting players. But
Hmm.
anyway, Chip Kelly is an NFL head coach. It's so shocking. It seems these really great college coaches don't often work out in the NFL unless your last name is Harbaugh.
Hmm. Who'd have thought?
Weird. And he's the one guy who plays old school hard nosed football, even for the NFL. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe he knows a thing or two about quarterbacks and which one's going to end up being the best long term. Maybe not this year. Definitely not this year, but long term, possibly. Guess we'll see.
Maybe. Shout out Jim and John.
Yes.
The Harbaughs. You
I
know,
don't know why. I
them.
don't know why I didn't have a response for that. It was just
Yeah.
don't know why you threw John in there. It just threw me off.
Oh, the
Um,
Harbaughs. Maybe we should fire Cock and hire Lincoln Riley.
yes.
It just dawned on me with KOC. I really didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
Anyways, hit the button, Brev. That one's inadvertent, but you still got to press the button. When we talk about another roster addition, well, let's talk about kind of an addition after a cut. I knew this was going to happen anyways. A little bummed about Najee Thompson being out for the entire year. We might talk about his potential replacement here in a moment. Um, People were really thinking we'd just cut him. I think his not a lot of teams are out there being like, man, I hope a injured special teams gunner hits waivers. Probably wasn't the hottest commodity. No, not any insult to what he does at his special position, but just circumstances.
Nah, and Salt because he ghosted us.
He didn't ghost us. He
Kind
did
of.
try to record with us last minute, specifically on a day we said we weren't available. But he's an NFL player. He's got a busy schedule, and I appreciate the effort. He did try.
Yeah.
It just, we will eventually talk to Najee or Justin Jefferson,
Shout
no in
out Najee.
between.
Oh, your Twitter
Oh,
follower, Justin Jefferson.
oh God,
I
we have
would
to
be.
address that. We
Yeah.
have to, we have to.
Go ahead.
So I get home from New York on Monday, and I'm just scrolling through my Twitter notifications, and I see Jay Jet's followed you, and it's picture Justin Jefferson. Now he has kind of I don't want to say a nondescript picture, but it's just him in a game, like walking to the sideline or
Very
walking on the
easily
field.
could have been like a fan account, you think?
Correct. There's a million Justin Jefferson Stan accounts out there with the same or similar pictures and pretty much the same name that are also verified.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, who's this? Which 13-year-old in Duluth has made another Stan account? It was actually, and I have the screenshots, all that, didn't Photoshop anything. Trust me, I wouldn't have done it just to have what happened happen. Justin Jefferson. And I was his 155th follow. He only has like less than 300,000 followers on Twitter, but it's important to
Oh
note
man.
if you look at his Twitter, well, I'm saying for the best player
Right.
outside of the quarterback position in the NFL. Like for who he
Fair.
is,
Fair.
like look at Fortnite in the gritty, like you would think any kid with a Twitter account would be like, "Oh my god, it's the gritty guy." Anyways, right? Like but if you look at his Twitter, you'll notice he very rarely tweets as himself.
Yeah.
Like I think his last genuine like this is a tweet that was typed out on a cell phone was about the Timberwolves. The rest are I've partnered with Sleep Number, #ad, and then it's a video that a publicist obviously wrote the tweet and put up. So I'm like, what just happened? How did this happen? This has to be an accident. So I just post on Twitter, like, what just happened? Because I'm in shock. I don't expect it. 5 minutes later, I see him hitting the field on the Vikings Instagram. And I'm like, did he follow me from the locker room? Like, what is happening? Now, without getting into too much, like, I do know a couple people, not really too much in the locker room, but just at TCO, just because I talk about the Vikings all the time. I kind of put myself out there, whatever. So I'm like, I don't know, did one of them have something to do with this? A few hours go by. He unfollowed me. But a couple things. His follower count was back up at 155. So my first thought, it was an accident. He meant to follow somebody else. Could be true. Secondly, a friend within Vikings Twitter pointed out a theory that most of those guys, rightfully, probably this is the case, have burners. And he's meant to follow me on his burner. And then me posting it made him go like, oh, I followed him on Maine. That's awkward. And then I'm going to break this 32-year-old man in Arizona's heart and unfollow him. So that was weird. But I mean, even when he followed me, I was like, there's no way he meant to do this. I looked at his followers. He's not following any fan accounts. He follows one sports betting account with like 130 followers. So that's good that he's following a sports
Uh-oh.
betting account.
Uh-oh.
Um, but also 130. Did I just throw him under?
Yeah,
Whoops.
you might have.
Let's
You
just cut this under. I mean, anyone can see it, but I'm saying like I don't know how much they actually tweet about sports betting. I didn't look. They had like 130 followers. I was confused. Um, but that was the greatest 3 hours of my life, and my wife and my child are well aware of this fact. Um, it was a beautiful thing we shared, Justin. I can call you Justin now.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sad to see it end, but thank you for believing in me for that 180 so minutes. I will never forget it um, as long as I live. August 19th,
I-
2024.
That was nice. You're strong.
So,
Maybe
anyways,
maybe stick to the podcasting and not the acting.
hey, bro, I was in theater at my
Oh,
private high school in a theater class of 12 kids, bro.
my fault.
Don't, uh, don't mess with me like that. But uh signed a running back for apparently no reason. Don't know why. This is the best.
Mo.
This is I mean, I know I'm sure it's just so that they don't play Ty Chandler this weekend. And but I mean Kenny is Kenny, uh you killed Kenny.
You
He
whitewashed
looked
his name.
guilty apparently. No, Kenny has looked really good this preseason. Like the
Mhm.
best he's looked as a running back I think he ever has. So I don't think this is an actual genuine competition.
Maybe, and Miles Gaskin hasn't looked bad either. So, I mean,
Oh,
McBride hasn't looked great. So maybe he takes McBride's spot on a practice squad, but if he
that could be
impresses.
it. Yeah, I always
But
forget
Mo
about Gaskin.
Ibrahim, of course, Minnesota sports legend. I guess the only concern with him would be he's a very high mileage young running back. Like Minnesota
Yeah,
ran him into the ground.
his hip popped out. No,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not a
that's
go
kind of
percent, but
a.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's dislocated hip, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah. Um, but anyways, that's this has been and probably in a good way. I think it's time we had one of these the most boring week we've had in a
overdue,
while.
overdue.
Overdue because all the other weeks were painfully miserable. Oh, and then there was the Russell Wilson rumors again. No. Just no.
I honestly didn't even like. I saw like two or three tweets about it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's
I
almost week one. I understand we got to get the theories out before we get here, but
could you imagine Justin Jefferson having to sit there and Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson are presenting to him why they should be the one throwing him the ball as QB1. Those two personalities,
and it's just Russell Wilson like doing a Subway commercial to Justin.
he is like ventriloquist. He has a like ventriloquist puppet all of a sudden.
Yeah, that would be very Russ. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much different Russell Wilson would be from Sam Darnold.
I don't know. I think Darnold has a higher ceiling, but hits his ceiling far less often.
Yeah, I could agree
Because
with him.
Darnold's more mobile than what Russ currently is, I would think, because of age.
Yeah, I held out hope for Russ because he really only had one bad year, like bad year, but now all the reports out of training camp is that he sucks. So
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this weekend and the implications. It's time, whether it's the regular season, whether it's the postseason, or in this case, the preseason, our yearly trip to Philly because the NFL hates us. I got confirmation from that. I did meet Roger Goodell, talk to him for like a minute last weekend, and I said, well, actually, I didn't say anything at first. He said, Vikings fan, huh? As he looked at my McCarthy jersey and just had a look of like pity on his face. And he said, my daughter's a Vikings fan. And I said, cool. Please help us next year. To
mm-hmm.
which he politely chuckled and took a picture with me. Um, I should have probably asked him to stop letting us go to Philadelphia as well.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Or like stop making Vikings and Bears games Monday night. Like nobody wants to watch it. We don't want to watch
Those matchups are always the worst football
it.
you've ever seen.
Awful. Worst.
Doesn't matter how good either team is either. They could be
By far.
two top NFC teams.
Yeah. It could be the best Bears quarterback in Bears history, Mitchell Trubisky, and it could still suck.
Don't you dare
Oh,
insult
sorry. Well, he
Jay
was.
Cutler like that.
I know, but Mitchell Trubisky was like the first savior of the Bears. Then it was Fields, and now it's gonna be
No,
Caleb
no, no.
Williams.
It was Jay Cutler,
Well,
and
yeah,
they
but
betrayed that man.
recent memory is what I'm going for. I love
What
Jay.
are you
Anyway,
What are you watching for in this very exciting Jaron Hall showcase extravaganza 2024?
well, because I am employed and tomorrow I also have to work, I will not be able to watch this game live because it's at 1 p.m. Eastern. So, what? Okay, why are preseason games at 1 p.m. Eastern? I mean, I guess we got to get into the flow, but like it just feels dumb. It's not dumb at all. It just feels dumb, and I'm mad I can't watch it live. So really, I'm attacking this question of because I'm now a certified hashtag film guy. Uh, I think I am going to most be looking forward. I don't know how much you're going to play Levi Drake Rodriguez, but he was very stout in his first 2 weeks. I think he's earned himself a spot on the 53. So I'm excited to see who him continue to play. Hopefully, depending how much they play him, I don't know if I don't think they'd sit him or anything. But I'm interested to see that position because I think James Lynch has lost his job at this point. Maybe he gets back to the practice squad, but I don't know about that. Uh, Dwight McGlothern, like all the easy ones, really. But I won't go too far into it. But yeah, I want to see Levi Drake Rodriguez continue to wreak havoc.
Yeah, he has been largely my favorite player to watch throughout this preseason on the defensive side. It's just the guy's got a motor, he's got natural size, he has everything you need. Um, I mean, I'll give the easy answer and say Lewis Seen. But here's the thing about Lewis Seen. Here's the thing about this performance from last week. I think the Vikings are in an absolute no-win situation after not trading him this week.
Unless he balls out.
Because no.
Or I know you. Okay, I know you.
If he balls out and he gets traded, this fan base will lose their shit.
Which they shouldn't, but
The last few years have been Quasey getting dragged nonstop for the scene pick. If he finally starts to show promise and then just gets dumped off, is what, not saying that's my views on it, but just the optics. A lot of people are going to be really mad.
yeah,
If he balls out and stays, he's not going to start. His best chance is to rotate in very occasionally and replace Najee as the gunner. 100%. Could he make an impact there? Yes. If he just doesn't do well this week, I won't even say sucks, but it's just unexciting. Maybe has a few tackles, gets in, does some good fundamental football plays, but doesn't like knock someone's head off like last week or have a pick. Because you know how us Vikings fans are. We're totally logical about fundamental football and don't only react to like the craziest things ever.
yeah,
Then people are going to be mad that we didn't trade him when we should have. We're only going to get sixth or a seventh in theory. I don't know what it would be for him. Or we keep him after that, and suddenly the why did you ever draft this guy narrative is back. I think if they were going to trade him, it had to have been this week. I don't think that they won't, that I don't think it's off the table, but I'm just saying from an optic, like PR with getting the fan base 100%, like we understand this move makes sense. I think that now, whatever they do, there's going to be backlash. But that's 99% of what the Vikings have to deal with, anyways. We just signed Gilmore to a pretty inexpensive deal, and people were pissed about that too. So, like, I guess everything's a no-win with our fan base. Love you all. Sincerely, I am one of you. Brev is one of you. Okay, love most of you. But I love some of you out there. I love one of you, and it's not Brev. Um,
Cinnamon roll.
but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I want to see him do well, but I also don't know, like, what is the outcome of that.
Yeah, I can understand that. I just if you look and people, I mean, I guess rightfully so, like came out of the woodwork, like, oh, stay on that side about Lewis Cine if you doubt it, and like,
Yo,
dude,
hey, there's that. Hey, there's like two Lewis Scene Stan accounts on Twitter that have been at it since 2022. Like
shout out to
I
them.
I respect them. Everyone else, I agree with you.
Yeah, shout out to them. That is unreal dedication. And again, you said I'm a Vikings fan. At the end of the day, I would prefer if our first round picks pan out. I'm not going to automatically jump on the train and call out everybody that said, "Huh, maybe that pick was a miss because he performed well in a preseason week 2 game against the Browns' second and third team." But when you get to the thick of it and you mentioned and again, I'm really for the person Lewisine, I'm very happy, and like it gets me thinking like, oh, maybe there's something, I'd like there to be something. It gets me to think like, okay, let's say it's the regular season and we're on defense. Do you really want him in the game over Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, or Josh Metellus for any reason? Unless it's a
Or
play,
even Theo Jackson
or
if we're
even
going that
Theo
far
Jackson.
down.
Yeah, because he's going to be a gunner. So if I'm getting a 2020, it'd probably be a 26, but if I'm getting a 2025, especially with the lack of draft capital we have this year, if I'm getting a conditional seventh round pick offer, I think I'm going to take that over a punt gunner because the punt gunner is going to be extremely replaceable. And that's not to say Flores can't find a spot for Lewisine. Maybe it is a little bit because Lewisine was also healthy through most of last year and he played 8 defensive snaps, I think. So maybe he something clicked between training camp and week 2 of the preseason. I think that's very unlikely. I am happy to see him ball out, very much so for him as the person. But if I had to make a prediction, will he be on the 53-man roster? I don't know. Like one fantastic performance in week 2 of a preseason game doesn't really solidify that. And it was a fantastic performance for the most part. At that point, you're kind of choosing between Lewisine and Jay Ward, and that's a tough decision to make because it's like
What are we actually? I
whatever's
mean, I think we've seen lower lows from Scene, but we've seen higher highs from Scene in limited action than Ward.
yeah.
What
And
he
the
did last week is better than anything I've seen from Jay Ward.
and it's I can't say it without sounding like a oh you're a doomer and you just want this team to fail. Like that was legitimately the first good thing we've ever seen from Lewisine. Like the
Yeah.
first good thing. And it
Yes.
came 2 years. I
He
understand he
didn't
broke.
even really play in his first season before he got hurt. Like he wasn't
Yeah,
even really on the
that
field.
was like the first flag. Even I was like, I mean, you got to slow a rookie into it, but like that was your first red flag. You're a first round pick. You're a safety. Cam Bynum wasn't Cam Bynum yet. Josh Metellus wasn't Josh Metellus yet. So I understand he snapped his ankle. It was 2 years ago. He just played an entire season, was available for most of the season last season, healthy, played 8 or 10 defensive snaps, literally. So it's like, did something just magically click? I'm not too sure about that. Hopefully it did.
I just realized I have a diaper genie and a pink gift basket behind me this entire time.
Good.
Our friend My great friend AJ and his wife Ariel are having their baby shower tomorrow. So my wife
Nice.
is going. It starts during the Vikings game, so I will be on valiant father duty, forcing my child to watch the pain that is a Vikings game, but not only that, a Vikings third preseason game.
Shout out
Um,
babies.
yes. No, shout out toddlers and no shout out for them.
Okay.
Um, do we know how bad Thayer Thomas's injury is? Did we ever get details on that? Is he fine? Is he good?
I don't even know. I don't even remember what the injury was, but I guess
Did
it was
he
bad enough.
play last week? Because I
I
was
don't.
I was at
I
a
don't think he did.
bar in New York and I only watched the first half,
I
admittedly, and
don't.
then just kind of kept up on my phone. Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna get big brain conspiracy here. This is just it depends on a number of things. One, if Thayer Thomas is healthy, and two, if you think he can fit the role. Or Brandon Powell, who now needs an excuse to get on the field, apparently. Or any number of people can take over the role of kick return. What do you think of a special teams dream team trade package for maybe a fifth round pick of a Kenny and Scene combo to a team that needs both a gunner and a returner? What
For
could
a
that fetch
fifth.
you? I don't know. What could that fetch? I mean, here's the thing. Well, actually, I think that value would go up in today's league given the new kickoff rules. But how
Mhm.
much have we even seen like a specialized kick returner get traded? What's the market on that?
I don't really know. I don't think there. I don't think there
That's what
is
I'm
much.
saying. Is like, what would that even be?
So
Because it
I've
would have
seen.
to increase what you would get from just seeing. No, if a
Yeah.
team really needed to work on special, this is just hypothetical. I'm not saying we should do this. If anyone's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yes, that's why you're watching the Skolcial Network,
Mhm.
for those takes.
I'm on the record for saying that the new kickoff rules might hurt Kenai. And I don't remember seeing any reports of how he was dealing with it in camp, and I don't even know if he's returned one in the preseason. But the one of the main knocks on Kene has always been his vision as a running back. And with the new
That's true.
kickoff rules, it's not the exact same thing, but it's much more of playing running back.
Playing,
Um,
having to run through a line with specific
yeah,
gaps that
and
can fall in
maybe
consistent ways.
I'm overanalyzing it that way because like by the time he gets there, it's kind of just like a kick return. But I don't I don't know. I wouldn't, and I'm not convinced either that Kene can be wide receiver. Oh, he definitely can't be wide receiver three. I can't. I don't know if he can be running back three. But I think the Vikings like him enough, and we've seen enough. Maybe we've seen enough of improvement from him as a running back in the preseason. But I don't
I don't
know.
know. I think if he is going to play running back, you have to come up with a specific package for him.
Yeah, I'd rather just trade Scenes straight up if they're gonna trade him.
This is going to be fun. All right. I'm gonna because I have to go here in a minute because I'm gonna have a very cranky child ruining my audio. Um, I'm gonna steal a little bit of what I did the other day with Adam Patrick, and I'm gonna run it on you. But I'm gonna ask you some quick yes or no or this player that player questions. A little different than what we did the other day, but I want to get your opinion. Um, Final corner spot. Let's say it comes down to this: McGlothern or Caleb Evans.
McLovin. If it came down to that, I don't know if it would, but
I don't
McLovin.
know if it will either, but if you're considering getting rid of Caleb
Yeah.
Evans to keep McGlothern, I would lean with McGlothern.
Yeah, and like we know what a Caleb is, and maybe we're just again, maybe I'm just getting excited about Dwight McLeathern while I'm tearing other people down for being excited about Lewisine. But yeah, I like what I've seen, not just because of the pick, but the tape don't lie. McLeathern's nice.
I mean, two games, a sample size of two games entirely in both of those games, we saw impressive things from an undrafted free agent rookie compared to 3 years in, obviously injury notwithstanding, to multiple chances to see a first round pick play. It's okay to be excited about the
Yeah,
undrafted free agent and
and his
what
camp performance was consistent too, so that's another reason.
Bo Richter, does he make the roster?
No, I am saying that because he had the wonderful, I think, what, two sack game against the Raiders. I think he got two, and then he had like last week he got a sack, but I mean I uploaded the film to Vikes now. If you'd like to go watch it, uploaded it 2 days ago. He
Real
was
quick, shout out Brev. He's been cutting up film and uploading it. The Jaron Hall one,
blew up.
weirdly enough, weirdly enough, of all the ones, um, Brev has been a film machine. Go watch those. That's where a lot of these takes are coming from. Is us breaking down the all 20. Well, Brev breaking it down and then me watching it later on the toilet. But definitely has helped me form opinions. So please
Yeah,
go
and
watch those if you haven't.
yeah, and I was just gonna say the Bo Richter, like other than the sack against Cleveland, like he was very, I hate to say irrelevant, but he got washed out of plays really easily, especially against the run.
I think you used the term snooze fest.
Snooze, yeah, yeah.
Trying to think who were some of the other players we talked about. Trying to think of some of the fun decisions to be made because there's a couple. Who ultimately, I think we're aligned on this, but who ultimately is your wide receiver 3?
At this point, I just want it to be Naylor.
Yeah, same.
I I've on the record many times for saying Brandon Powell's not a true wide receiver 3. He filled in at spots last year kind of because he had to. I think if Jalen Naylor can stay healthy, I'm a ceiling guy, so ceiling Jalen Naylor.
Does Brandon Powell make the roster?
Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver 4. He's 3 or 4.
4.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, and that's just like preliminary depth chart. Like I'd have Tristan Jackson and at 5, and then I think 6 is gonna come down to like Sherfield or somebody else.
Thayer Thomas. He's gonna earn that spot
Could
while
be.
hurt. I
Could
don't
be.
know. I look. Thayer Thomas could be an interesting gadget guy. That's all I'm saying. I've been on that train. He's played one game so far this year, and I was correct. And that is, you can take JJ McCarthy's knee from us, but you cannot take the Thayer Thomas breakout preseason performance from me.
Okay, all right. I
I
was about
couldn't
to.
even say that with a straight face.
I thought you were about to say you couldn't take Thayer Thomas from us. Was like they did.
No, you cannot take his performance from us. Levi Drake, you already said, but how confident are you? Scale of 1 to 10, he makes the 53 and is not a practice squad or waiver candidate.
I'm at like a 9 on it.
Probably,
Honestly,
yeah.
they have a lot of defensive tackles, but I think James Lynch has not only like gone below LDR, but he's also fallen below Taki Taimani too. So I don't know if Taki makes it, but just like if you were to rank them, I'd like to see Taki make it too. But they've got just a lot of mid defensive tackles. So I
Yeah.
again ceiling guy, I'd rather keep the ceiling players than Jonah Williams.
Dalton Risner. Or
Uh,
Reisner. Sorry, internet. I
wow.
I did it wrong. Dalton Reisner.
Uh, I've got a article, VikingsTerritory.com feature article. I'm featured in the article where Dalton Reisner is my surprise cut candidate. Um, and I don't even know if it'd be that much of a surprise.
No, I
Uh,
don't think at this stage.
I wouldn't be surprised either way, but he's been dealing with injury the entire time. I mean, he wasn't. I think we kind of overblew how good he was last year, just because we were like, oh my goodness, it's a guard that can kind of pass block. But with Brandel, Ingram, and I should have addressed this earlier because people aren't watching by this point anymore. Ed Ingram had like he got torn apart by
Yeah,
PFF.
I
I don't know why. He
I
plays
don't
like
think
a
he
good
no,
game.
I don't think so. I disagree.
You don't think?
Unless I here's the thing is when you put if you have an offensive lineman have a really good game, but the people next to them are having really bad games, then like the switch offs, things like that, make it look like the good guy is having a really bad game. Because all of a sudden, hey, I'm supposed to move over this way and let you cover this gap, but this guy's on his ass. It looks like you just moved out of the way of an oncoming defensive player, and I think
Yeah.
that probably happened a couple times.
Oh yeah, there. I definitely noticed. I didn't upload it, but I went back and watched it because I didn't remember him having like a 19 grade worthy game, and like there's definitely miscommunications where like him and the guy next to him missed like a stunt. But And we've always known that Ed Ingram's a much better run blocker than he is pass blocker. So maybe that could be what it is.
I don't know if this is going to be in the recording, but you just went full robo choppy mode, and
Robo, Robo.
I don't know who's now.
Now,
Um, good note to end on. Yeah, I think
yeah,
Reisner's probably cut. I think he's, and I hate to say it, I think Duke Shelley probably is too. Unless you
yeah, no,
somehow make him
Duke's gone.
gunner. Yeah, I look, I love both those guys for different reasons. I love them both for their heart. I don't necessarily love how they consistently line up matched up at their positions.
Yeah,
Reisner last year was not he was not a dominant wall at the line of scrimmage. The number one thing he did, and again, I apparently he just blocks people on Twitter for never saying anything to him, and if they've ever whispered something in public, he'll block you on Twitter. So I'll probably get blocked for this. Um, I love his downfield effort, probably more than any offensive lineman I've seen in recent memory. He plays through the whistle. He just doesn't fix the immediate issue of contact at the line of scrimmage and creating a gap. I love the downfield effort. So like I want to say like the motor is there, the effort is there, the attitude's there. I love all those things. I cannot say more positive things in that area. But I think ultimately because every team makes a couple roster moves after the cut, I think the Vikings will be going after some interior linemen within the next 7 days.
Dalton Reisner definitely loves football. We'll say
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, no, and I love that. But at the end of the day, if the fix is, man, we sucked in the red zone last year and we had no run game. How can we fix that? Okay, let's get a running back. Oh wait, we still have no one to block for them. Well, let's kind of try a few things out. If that doesn't change, then you have to keep trying new things. And I think that's ultimately where the team's probably at.
So true.
Hey, there it is. You haven't hit me
Mm-hmm.
with a so true yet.
So
So
true.
with that, next week, I believe it is Tuesday, is 53-man roster cuts.
I think it's Wednesday, 27th.
Wednesday? That is Tuesday. That is my wedding anniversary.
I thought it's Wednesday for some reason.
Nope. Nope, it's 4 days from now, which would be Tuesday, because today is the
Okay.
23rd, and that's how math works. Wednesday would be
Yay.
5.
Yay.
Yay. Even sooner, we get to talk about people having their hopes and dreams ripped out of their hands cruelly. I
Good
hate
time.
that part of it. I absolutely hate that part of it because you get to like you follow these guys, undrafted guys, whoever they may be, and like you root for them. Like we it sucks talking about these things because it can sound kind of cold and callous or like, oh, this person's not good. But at the end of the day, like there's not a single person on this roster or who has ever been on this roster that you did not want to succeed for the Vikings.
Yeah.
So it stinks, but
Uh,
who? Because I'm sure somebody.
Bashad
Oh,
Breeland.
yeah, that's true. Actually, no, I wanted him to succeed until I started hearing him talk and tweet.
Yeah.
That was kind of basically it. Um, I will say this one last thing on the Tua thing, which I don't even think is worth addressing because I just think it's insane. Um, there's an angry child just walked through my door. I don't know if you could hear him crying.
Not even me. No, we're good.
Okay, well, I will go address that in a moment.
Okay.
But gonna go save my wife. Oh, and my
Mm.
podcasting duties for the day.
What a guy. Oh, there it is. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
great. Glad that's hey, my son Case made an appearance on the pod. Would you look at that? What was I gonna say? I would love to see how Tua would have reacted with Mike Zimmer because there were people at the time saying we should have done that.
He might have
Um,
retired.
yeah, I think most likely that would have been the outcome.
Yeah.
Canadian football legend Tua Tagovailoa wins another Grey Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Bro, did you see the guy say that to Dalvin Cook this week?
No.
Who better? One of the better guys was like, oh yeah, I think it was like racing when a 40. He's like, yeah, if I beat you, you better get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. And like somebody made one of those TikToks with the cranberries cover.
Mm.
If you don't know. And it was somebody
Mm.
saying it to that, and Dalvin's like, wow, ouch, that hurt. And then it starts playing that and showing prime Dalvin Cook highlights, and man, it
Ah.
crushed. It crushed my soul.
Prime Dalvin was. I think we've already forgotten how good Prime Dalvin was.
And there was just peaks of it in 2022, and it only showed up when we needed it most.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that, this is going to be an interesting weekend. I hope that we beat Philly because I always hate Philly. Um, If you're ever going to go to a Vikings game in Philadelphia, this is probably one to go to because I don't think they'd get that crazy at a third preseason game. But then again,
It's like a 3.5 hour drive for me.
maybe you
Oh
should
wait,
go.
I'm working.
Just record the entire thing on your phone, call out sick, record the entire thing on your phone from like the 300 level and cut up film that way.
Oh yeah, I'll just zoom in
Just
on what I see.
manually in CapCut.
That'll go well.
Anyways, well, you can expect that here on the Vikes Now channel soon, but we will see you guys next week where we get to actually talk about the regular season starting 2 weeks after that, but still
Kind of
soon.
crazy. It's wild.
I know, dude. Oh, that's what your shirt is.
End the fucking recording.
See you guys next week.